Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. We got John Tran in the building. What's up, man?
Nothing much. What's going on with you, man?
Not much either. Happy Friday. Um, Actually, there is something going on, crazy time in the world. And, we've had some dialogue with some of you guys, myself individually on this channel, and now bringing on John and to respond and react to the Brennan Eagles news and the Longhorns marching to the Capitol in protest of the unjust murder of George Floyd. So before we get into our content, I want to give a very quick shout out to our video sponsors, Boss's Ranch. Love this spicy Red River Ranch flavor. They are phenomenal. Check them out. HEB Cold Produce. HEB has been a phenomenal partner as well, just in terms of our communities responding to COVID-19. You can find Boss's Ranch, HEB Cold Produce section. Appreciate you guys. Fellow Horns fans as well. So, Trent, first off, I do want to start with the Horns going to the Capitol and just your reaction to seeing the team come together like that.
I think it was a beautiful demonstration of a peaceful protest. Honestly, they went out there, they spoke their minds, they acted as a team or a family. They all did it together. White, black, it didn't matter. They all stormed it, and they spoke their mind. They spoke what was in their heart. So I thought it was a beautiful protest.
I agree. And I appreciated, Caden Stearns sharing his thoughts. Several of the other, Longhorn players have talked about Josh Thompson before in the, fantastic video that he made, and just some of the other, Horns who have been very vocal about this topic and about this issue. And, the pictures and stuff. And I know they weren't doing it for press and whatnot, but it does say a lot, especially this school that has had issues when it comes to race in the past, issues when it comes to integration in the past. And, my mother was actually in late 1970s, early 80s, one of the first black females that was around campus, as a student, and she's very proud of that. But she has a lot of stories and hardships of things that she faced at UT. So to see Chris Del Conte, Tom Herman, the leadership, this is what leadership looks like to me, Tran.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. And to go a step further, it was great when you saw Carrington get attacked online, and the first people to jump to his defense was Tom Herman. When he came forward and he spoke his mind and his heart on, hey, we will not keep our kids quiet. They have a voice, they have a platform. I want them to use it here at the University of Texas. So I'm hats off to the organization so far.
So speaking of platform, we do have a player who is choosing to really take action, I would say, in utilizing that platform, and it's Brennan Eagles. Very talented wide receiver who is, probably one of the top 5 people on the team in terms of expectations of production that we were looking for this year, coming off of a season where he was kind of like that explosive player on the outside, a little inconsistent, but made some of the most athletic plays we've seen at that position in a while. And somebody who now Devin Duvernay is gone, Colin Johnson's gone, him, Jake Smith, some of those other guys, like kind of the next guys up. So he issued a statement on Instagram and Twitter. I do want to share my screen real quick so we can read this brother's thoughts and what he's saying he's going to do within full context here. And Trent, you can see this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Brendan said, okay, so for all my brothers out there that are student athletes, do you really think athletics should be a main focus right now during this time that we live in? At the end of the day, if that if that is the main focus, I find you blind to the fact that your platform can change this. Thousands of people come to watch for entertainment. Revenue is built from that. Money is generated from us. If it wasn't for athletics, we wouldn't have coaches slash trainers. Doctors wouldn't perform as many surgeries, etc. The list goes on. I'll be damned if you think I'll play another snap with the platform I have that affects the majority of the people that contribute to the sport who don't actually play. Know your value is all I'm saying. Athletics brings people together all over, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to play another snap knowing what's going on in our society due to color and the system being broken. I just can't. Let's look at the bigger picture. Don't care if you yellow or blue. That goes for every athlete slash supporter out there. So, Tran, just hearing that, I want to start with uh, your comments and your thoughts on what Mr. Eagles had to say.
So beforehand, I definitely want to tread lightly because I don't know him as a person, and it's hard to provide my advice not knowing him and not
Sure.
knowing where it came from, things like that. With that said, I commend him for it. Honestly, he's speaking his mind. However, I think one thing that he was talking about was his platform, utilizing his platform to help people that are basically living off of their performance. Um, I think him quitting football is an emotional decision right now, and I'm hoping that and I'm not even doing this through a Texas fan hoping he's playing. I hope
Sure.
he's thinking if he really wants to make a difference, the farther he goes in football, the bigger platform he has and the more pull and resource he has to actually make a difference. So if he wants to make it, if he wants to make the biggest difference, he he should be playing. I mean, honestly. But it's whatever what he does with his time. If he decides to quit and decides to be serve his community, that will be a different story. I mean, he's focused 100% on his community. I commend that. He's his own individual. He can do whatever he wants, and he does make a great point on the fact that if he's the one who's paying everyone's bills, and him and other athletes, of course, are paying and they're not really going to listen to the athletes or black people as well whenever they have a protest like this, why should he should be killing or shortening his career over and over again. But I really do think that after he sits down with an advisor or family, he may change his tune and start playing football again. Because I do think that the farther he goes in this career, the bigger platform he has to actually express his feelings.
Well said, man. And I agree with your sentiment about this being from a standpoint of emotion. And there's nothing wrong with that. Right now
Not at all.
is this country is hurting. It's a very emotional time. I've been emotional this week. I've been in pain from seeing all the nonsense going on, of people are out here trying to peacefully protest, and we have a small group of individuals that exacerbates the problem and incites violence in these situations, incites all these things to go to take things away and take the focus away from what we're really talking about here with racism and police brutality. Then we also see some of these police officers responding to protests about police brutality with even more police brutality. So we're seeing all these things happen, and it's very challenging for the people that are protesting out there. It's very challenging for the police officers who are tasked with dealing with these things. Let's also be mindful that they're still there to protect people and to make sure that things don't get carried away in a manner. And some of them are doing a great job in connecting and listening. We've seen that here locally with APD. In some cases, we've seen that in Houston. And then we also have some situations in some of the other major cities that looks horrible, right? So it's a very emotional time for everyone. As this relates to Brennan Eagles, um, I respect the brother from the standpoint of you've worked your whole life for this, and like you said, I agree with you as well. I don't know him personally, but I do understand what it's like to be a young black man and to feel unheard in this country, and so I can relate to him there. Just through some of my own personal experiences. Now, I can only imagine how amplified that is with the platform he has currently as a player of note for a major university. And so I understand where he's coming from. I just ask this: listen to your elders, listen to your advisors, and it doesn't necessarily have to be coaches on the Texas staff. I think this is where family, whether it's whoever is in his life, and it could be somebody like I said no coach, but like it could even be somebody like a Brian Carrington, whoever it is, that's helps him strategize here. If this is the path you choose to go down and you want to leverage your platform here, here's the ramifications, both good and bad. Because when we get emotional, we get mad. That's why people punch a hole in the wall, right?
Yeah.
You don't know how to channel that and funnel that. And I'm not saying that these words that he wrote are coming from a place of just sheer rage or anything like that. But he's fed up, right? And it's I feel the brother's pain because I feel like that sometimes for these guys, right? So even seeing some of the responses, you can see some of the responses. The first one on there that said, "Told him to kick rocks or hit the bricks," right? So some of these people are validating what he's saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, honestly, for the most part, I have seen people respond with love to Mr. Eagles and saying, whatever you decide to do, young man, we are supportive of your path, but have a plan, strategize. If this is the route you want to go, are you looking to become a civil rights activist? Like, what are you looking to do um, to best utilize your platform moving forward? Because to another point you said, Tran, to me, and this is where I disagree with Brennan. To me, it's to ball out and get a bigger platform. It's to ball out and get money. It's to ball out and use that money to help communities and others, like we're seeing with a lot of these athletes right now, whether it's LeBron or at any level of athlete, right? It doesn't have to be LeBron or Jordan, even though they're doing a lot right now. But even in the NFL, the conversations that are going on because these guys have a bigger platform, they have a bigger reach to try to connect with people, to try to connect with their teammates. So I think it is very, very critical that Brennan can understand that and still pursue his own personal dream. I don't want the brother having regrets 20 years from now saying, what if, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because how much are things going to change? How much, right? Like, this is a hot button issue right now. It's been a hot button issue for me my whole life. It's been a hot button
Right.
issue for my father my whole life. But right now, the focus is there 100%. But once football starts, I mean, let's be honest, right?
You
When
saw how
sport
fast people forgot about COVID. Honestly, I mean, when this happened, if something else pops up, it's yesterday's news, which is it's not appropriate. Honestly, we have to resonate on something like this because lives have been lost.
lives have been lost for sure. Even in the midst, I'm glad you brought that up because I did want to highlight today it would have been Breonna Taylor's 27th birthday, the young lady that was murdered at the hands of police officers in Louisville. She was a first responder, murdered in her bed, 8 shots. So horrific story. And those police officers, to my knowledge, have yet to be charged in that particular situation. We had another man, David McAtee, that was killed. That was a barbecue shop owner. That we don't have video footage of that one. The officers didn't have their body cams on. It's a lot going on. And then you also have police officers who we've lost. David Dorn has been lost. Patrick Underwood have been lost. So for the folks that come on and say, well, you're only talking about the folks that have been victim of police, I don't want to see anybody lose their life. All right. That police officer was 77 years old, was retired, and was coming back to fight for his community. I didn't want to see him lose his life. So I am equally upset about that, and that hurts me. I don't want to see cops dying. Okay, that is not justice, especially innocent people that are coming back to protect their community. So cut the shit when it comes to some of that stuff. And excuse my language, but it's just really, really frustrating when there's a particular topic going on. We can't even stay focused because we want to bring all these red herrings into the fold. And now other people are getting, now granted, Breonna Taylor's situation was before this started. And this is something where, again, unfortunately, she has not received the same level of media focus like Ahmaud Arbery or even George Floyd. But it's just the world we're spinning in right now. But anyway, getting back to the point of Brennan Eagles, I do think at some point he will make the practical decision to come back, play. And this is not for Texas, okay? We're both Texas fans.
Yeah.
I would love to have him, selfishly as a fan, I would love to have him back. But I'm first off wanting what's best for him. And if he has a path to do whatever he wants to do, and it's not football related, I 100% support Brennan Eagles. And if he wants to come back, and I'm sure Tom Herman and Andre Coleman and everybody involved has already told him this, you are welcome back with open arms. Okay? And if he wants to, if you really want to be real and go to like a HBCU and transfer or do whatever you want, I'm cool with that, man. But all I'm saying is have a plan, strategize. Don't just be emotional. And then 6 months from now, it's like, well, damn, I didn't do anything, and I wish I would have moved differently. I mean,
Yeah.
those are kind of my thoughts. So didn't want to belabor the point, but for those folks that again, the lives that have been lost in lieu of George Floyd's life itself, um, essentially seeing a lynching on tape in front of the entire country, people's children having to watch that with their children to educate their kids. This is a huge, enormous deal and something that is clearly impacting our college athletic program. We've seen other Oklahoma Sooners players very, very outspoken on the topic across college football. Look what happened at Florida State, right? When coaches aren't handling this in the best way possible, or even Clemson, right? With Dabo Sweeney and some of the things that have been unveiled. Some of the players seeing where some of these guys truly stand. It's all very, very fascinating, honestly, in the prism of historical context. It's very fascinating to watch, Tran.
Yeah, it is. But you do have something to end kind of on a lighter note, right?
I do.
Perfect kind of segue on people unveiling their true selves.
Yeah, we had another individual who just recently moved on to the NFL, who revealed his true colors, and he's been apologizing. Mr. Jake Fromm, Mr. Jake from State Farm, who we had a lot of conversations about him, Tran, off air. You've always felt some type of way about Jake Fromm, and
let me clarify this. This is way before the texts were released. I just thought he was trash from a football perspective, because when I saw him on tape, nothing really impressed me. And I didn't know what the media's love affair with him was, him being one of the top. He was supposed to be one of the top quarterbacks in last year's draft. And I just didn't see it. I mean, I saw Texas, who last year or 2 years ago didn't have the best defense, and we just said, all right, Jake Fromm beats us, cool. cool.
Yeah, that was our game plan. Yeah. Totally okay with that, right?
We put everyone else on an island, and you know what?
And look who he was throwing to, right? He had like Mecole
3 guys who are in the NFL.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's not impressive to me. But finding out this, it's just cherry on the top.
So our friend and somebody who we're also a big fan of, Mr. BJ Foster, I think he called game with his post here. So I'm just going to share that real quick. And, that's all that needs to be said. So caption's amazing. The picture's incredible. Mr. BJ Foster, I salute you, my brother.
Yes, sir.
Tran, I appreciate you joining. We're going to go out on BJ. And guys, remember, horns always up.